Hello, I'm Troy Baker, and I got to play Joel in the video game for The Last of Us. I get to host the podcast for HBO, but in this episode, I played James. I knew that Craig and Neil wanted to somehow find a place for me. They were very gracious and have lovingly welcomed us into this ever-expanding family of The Last of Us. It kept waiting, and I thought, maybe it's gone away. Maybe there isn't something for me. And then Neil goes, I think I found a role for you. And he was like, I'd like for you to play James. And I went, oh, man. Who?
James. Yeah. I sensed doubt in there.
I haven't lost faith in you, David. I'm just scared.
I had to remind myself, I was like, that was his name. For me, it gave me a good opportunity to, just as this show has done, it's enriched the original story. Of course, playing a cannibal in the main antagonist's gang that tries to kill Ellie, I'm not sure what that says about Neil and I's relationship. I'm sure we're good. I think there was an interesting little tidbit that wasn't in the game that we put into the show about David's group coming from the Pittsburgh QZ. That was a little wink to the game, since in the show we went to Kansas City as opposed to going to Pittsburgh.
But when the Pittsburgh QZ fell in 17, Fireflies and Fedra, I left with a few others, and that's how I ended up with our flock.
No. Therein lies a lot of the manipulation and the control. David is a very, very savvy, tyrannical leader. He understands how to control these people. And part of that is by ruling through ignorance. Keeping people chained to their hope and their desperation is what allows him to maintain his position over them. He tells the people that he has to tell, and he tells those people, don't tell anyone. So there are people that are sitting down to eat this meal that think that they're eating deer.
What is it?
Venison.
They're not. Here's why I think David is the worst person, because he never lies to Ellie. He always tells her the truth.
I've always had a violent heart. And I struggled with it for a long time, but then the world ended and I was shown the truth.
And if you look at it from a certain lens, there's a lot of parallels between he and Joel. Both want to have a paternal sort of relationship. Both are doing anything and everything they can to survive. Both care for the people that are in their charge. But just like we saw with other people throughout this story, Maria being one of them, a singular event can cause two completely different paths and two different kind of people. Sarah dying for Joel set him on one path. Kevin dying for Maria sent her on another one. She was still able to retain her maternal care. Both of them are still parents. Both of them are grieving in two different ways. That said, David is pure evil. So having played the game, I knew what what his arc was going to be. So I knew going into it that ultimately I would meet my demise. What I didn't know is when you do performance capture, a lot of it is pretend. And so if you're bleeding, you have to pretend that there's blood. If you get stabbed, you have to pretend that you get stabbed. When you're making an actual film or a show like this, they go all out. So I spent the entire morning in prosthetics, and they had this magnetic attachment in my neck so that when Bella swung the cleaver, it would stick. And it did. It was a shake right there. And then they had this bladder full of blood. That's actually what they called it. They had a bladder full of blood that was piped up through my neck, through this prosthetic. So when Bella hits me with the cleaver, I stagger back and blood goes everywhere. It was just blood, blood, blood. I went through 8 changes of wardrobe, and each time I got to sit in a cold pool of my own blood. It was awesome. Baby girl is a very important thing in the story of The Last of Us, and it was all in kind of an accident. When we were shooting the game originally, as Joel carries up Sarah to go to bed and he says goodnight, he puts her in the bed and he says, "Goodnight, baby girl." And that's just the thing about growing up in Texas. Just baby girl is just something that you say. Neil says, "What did you just say?" I was like, "Goodnight?" He goes, "No, what'd you call her?" I was like, "Baby girl." He goes, that is what Joel is going to call Ellie.
It's me. It's me. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, baby girl. I got you.
So for that to culminate in this moment of trauma with Ellie, and for Joel to desperately try to connect with Ellie, and something within him just organically resorts to calling her baby girl, that to me is one of the biggest hallmarks of Joel's healing.